Vale, pues entonces vamos a ver. Posiblemente para la huella de dactilares lo dirá ella automáticamente. Vamos a ver con esta, que no me acuerdo quién es. Esta es la condesa.
I'm sorry to disturb you. Not at all. As you can see, I'm not exactly occupied at the moment. And I do know you're helping that funny little Belgian detective. What can I do for you?
Vamos a ver, Teban. Ah, no, esta es la que le mola al coronel. Creo. Sí, Mary Teban, ¿no? Creo. Estoy más perdido a veces con los nombres. ¿Cuál es su nombre completo, dirección y residencia?
Your full name, permanent address, and age, please. Mary Hermione Debenham, 32. I'm between permanent addresses at the moment.
¿Qué puede decirme del asesinato de la pasada
What
noche?
can you tell me of the murder last night? I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. I went to bed and slept.
Madre mía, qué rápido hablas, hija mía. Parece muy tranquila, ¿no le gusta lo que ha
You
ocurrido?
seem very at ease. Are you not distressed by what has happened? Distressed? I have not really thought about it from that point of view. No, I cannot say that I am at all distressed. After all, people die every day. They die, yes, but murder is thankfully a little more rare. Were you acquainted with Monsieur Ratchet? I saw him for the first time at dinner last night. Oh, I suppose at the station, perhaps. I don't recall. How did he strike you? I hardly noticed him. He did not strike you as an evil personality? Really, I cannot say I thought about it. Whether or not I liked Mr. Ratchet's face does not seem to be helpful in finding out who killed him. I'd like to take your fingerprints. How very enterprising of you. How do we proceed? I have some typewriter ribbon. Splendid. This is all rather exciting.
Joder, es muy excitante, dice.
Do you know who Monsieur Ratchet really was? Haven't a clue. Who was he? Cassetti, the man behind the Armstrong kidnapping. That was quite abominable. Where did you begin your journey? Baghdad. What were you doing there? I have been acting as governess to 2 children. What is your final destination? London. I'm giving up on Baghdad. Not much happens there. I'm hoping to find a suitable post in London. What can you tell me about Mademoiselle Schmidt? She's a nearly perfect traveling companion. Quiet, polite, thinks the world of her princess. What is the color of her dressing gown? Her dressing gown. It's dark blue. Flannel. Did Mademoiselle Schmidt leave your compartment at any time during the night? She was with the princess, reading, I believe, until quite late. I awoke when she returned. I remember thinking she was not paid enough for such long hours and checked my watch. It was 12:38. How well do you know Colonel Arbuthnot? That's a very impertinent question. And I'll not answer it. Thank you, Mademoiselle Debenham.
Lo dice usted bien, dice es impertinente y no pienso
I do want to help you in your investigation.
Vale, vale. Estás sola, ¿no? Sí, estás sola. O sea que no veía bien. Aquí están los condeses. El conde y la condesa.
Count Andrigny, I am acting on behalf of Monsieur Hercule Poirot in this matter. May I speak with you?
I quite understand your position. I will do anything I can to assist you.
May I have your passport, please?
Yes, certainly.
Rudolph Joseph Andrigny, aged 34. A diplomatic passport.
Yes, I am in the Hungarian consular service.
Wife, Elena Maria Andrigny. Age 20?
Yes, we have only been married a year.
Aged
Vaya.
20, thank you.
De 20 años, gracias. Jovencilla, ¿eh? ¿Conoce usted la identidad del finado? ¿Del finado?
Are you aware of the identity of the deceased, monsieur?
If you want to know his name, surely it is in his passport.
The name on his passport is Ratchet. That is not his real name. He is in fact Cassetti, who was responsible for the kidnapping and death of a child in America.
Ah, that certainly should throw light upon the matter.
Have you been to America, Monsieur Leconte?
Yes, I was in Washington for a year. Extraordinary country.
Did you know the Armstrong family?
The kidnapped victims.
Yes.
Armstrong. It is difficult to recall. So many diplomatic functions. So many hands to shake. I cannot recall. I'm sorry.
Can you tell me how you spent the evening after dinner last night?
We had my wife's compartment made up while we were at dinner. On returning, we sat up in mine playing piquet. At about 11 o'clock, my wife retired for the night. The attendant made up my compartment, and I also went to bed.
I'd like to take your fingerprints.
Whatever you need to do, I will be happy to cooperate.
The sudden stop of the train awakened you?
Naturally. I learned from the attendant of the avalanche, then went in to my wife and comforted her.
When did you return to your own compartment?
Well, I didn't, actually. That is to say, I did not like to leave my wife alone after the shock. We passed the remainder of the night together.
Normal, están casados.
Other than the train stopping, did you notice anything unusual?
No, I don't think so. I dropped off to sleep sometime before 2 a.m. and slept through until this morning.
You didn't hear the commotion in the compartment next to yours? The American lady who occupies it had quite an attack of hysterics and rang repeatedly for the attendant.
When was this?
At approximately 1:15.
No, I'm afraid I didn't notice.
Pero es normal. Pero es curioso, pero lo hace muy bien en el juego, Es muy común en aquella época, en los años 20, 30, el tema de hablar de temas sexuales es un tabú, vamos, inmenso. Y le da corte decir que se había quedado en el departamento de su mujer. Claro, evidentemente los departamentos son individuales, las camas son individuales, pero bueno, que se había quedado con ella. Tampoco hay que darle más vueltas. ¿Fuma?
Do you smoke, Monsieur Leconte?
The occasional cigar only. They are always offered to me, you understand, but I do not much like them.
Merci, Monsieur Leconte.
Y ahora ella.
Countess, may I ask you some questions regarding the death of Monsieur Ratchet?
I'm not sure what I can do to help, but I'll try.
Have you been to America?
No, mademoiselle. My husband was posted there. Diplomatic duties. But we were not married then.
What is the color of your dressing gown?
Why do you ask me that?
Detectives have to ask all sorts of questions. Forgive me.
It is yellow. Corn-colored chiffon. Are you really a detective, mademoiselle? I was told you worked for the railway.
Well, I'm assisting a detective. That's what I meant.
Is he a Yugoslavian detective?
I think he would tell you he belongs to the world, madame. May I take your fingerprints?
Yes.
Sí, hasta que no nos metemos dentro de la pantalla de las huellas, entonces no aparece cada una distinta, porque claro, de primeras todas las sensaciones son todas iguales. Luego después supongo que tendrán su rareza y sus modificaciones cada una.
When did you fall asleep last night?
Soon after 1 o'clock, I believe.
Did you hear or see anything unusual last evening?
After the train stopped?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
You didn't hear Mrs. Hubbard ringing her bell and calling out at around 1:15?
No, it would be very unlikely if I did. I'm sorry.
Au revoir, Madame la Comtesse.
Bueno, pues ya está. A ver si se cuenta esta. Me parece que unos días habíamos
Have you
hablado.
enjoyed rummaging around in my room?
I would like to fingerprint you.
What do you have there? A typewriter ribbon? You're going to smear ink from that on my fingers?
That was my intention.
And how do you plan to clean that mess off afterwards?
I have something to clean your hands with.
Cocktail napkins? Good gracious, sweetie. What kind of fleabag investigation are you conducting here anyway?
Madre mía.
I appreciate your cooperation.
Vaya con su colaboración. Ay,
Au revoir, madame.
me cae gorda esta. Ajá.
May I have your passport, please?
Oui, mademoiselle. You will find it in room 1-2 in the Athens-Paris coach.
What can you tell me of your movements after dinner?
I came in here to attend to the bar after everyone went to their rooms. I cleaned the salon car and went to the Athens-Paris coach to rest.
What time was that?
I closed the bar at midnight, so it would be a few minutes after that.
Did you see or hear anything unusual last night?
No, mademoiselle. The Athens-Paris coach was very quiet. And of course, the door leading to the Calais coach is locked. One can pass through only if Pierre Michel or Matteo opens it for him.
What do you know of Klaus, the chef?
An artiste de la cuisine, and just as temperamental as a painter. Vous comprenez? No one is allowed to enter his kitchen.
His menu seems to overemphasize meat dishes.
It is true that. They call him Le Boucher, but not to his face, of course.
The butcher. It suits him. I would like to take your fingerprints.
I see. Very well then.
Vale.
Klaus seems even more temperamental than usual today.
I fear an approaching catastrophe, mademoiselle.
Worse than avalanches and murder.
Certainement. Special dinner menus, as you no doubt know, are printed in advance of our departure in Istanbul. Here is tonight's menu. As you can see, tonight is to serve Wiener Schnitzel and Erdäpfel Salat, native dishes of Austria, in honor of the Count and Countess Andrani.
Veal and potatoes. Why does this not surprise
Pene
me?
de patatas.
But so many have asked for the salads, almost in defiance of Chef Klaus, and the porters have failed to put aboard enough vinegar and olive oil for the Erdäpfel Salat. Klaus is in a rage. The embarrassments will be too much for him.
Bueno, eso ya lo hemos arreglado.
What do you know of Klaus's movements last night?
As usual, he stayed in his precious kitchen, preparing his pastries and sauces for the next day's meals. He passed through the salon car a few minutes before midnight in a rage because one of the steak knives is missing. Passengers will take anything as a souvenir if it is not bolted down. Why, the things that have gone missing on this trip would astound you.
No está atornillado.
But perhaps they were not all taken as souvenirs. Perhaps some person, in order to do good, borrowed them?
Mademoiselle, forgive me, but I do not understand what you are talking about.
Let it pass. What did Klaus do after he entered the salon car?
Nothing. We went together to the Athens-Paris coach.
Do you know Monsieur Ratchet was killed with a knife?
I had heard this, oui, but why? Do you think Klaus may have stabbed him?
A chef that temperamental? If someone was to criticize his masterpieces?
Mais no, mademoiselle. C'est très absurd. Klaus would not stab anyone. Not with a knife. He would hack them into little medallions with his cleaver.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Lo cortaría. Lo haría pedazos. Ah, muy bien, seguimos robando. Se queda diciendo, ¿qué ha pasado? ¿Dónde está? La cubitera. Ha desaparecido.
I beg your pardon, mademoiselle, but...
Hablaremos después. ¿Para qué porras quiero cubos de hielo? Es excepcionalmente grande. Bueno, nada, seguimos cogiendo trastos. Vale, pues está claro que el cuenta pavo. Se trata de un cuentagotas estándar para echar salsa sobre el pavo cuando está en el horno. ¿Cómo porras sacaremos las huellas? Pues seguramente que tenemos que conseguir algo como harina o alguna cosa de esas, seguro. Vale, vámonos, porque por aquí tenemos a dos más. Bueno, tenemos a este, me parece que es el último.
Monsieur Foscarelli.
Ah, signorina! I have been told you aid the great Hercule Poirot in his investigations. I will help you in any way I can.
May I have your passport, please?
Of course, of course! Here you are!
Ya ponía Italia, Estados Unidos. Yo soy Antonio Foscarelli.
You are Antonio Foscarelli.
Ah, vale,
I see
nacionalizado.
here you are a naturalized American citizen.
Yes, signorina. It is better for my business. I am, as you can see, a salesman of motor cars. I do big business. I am up to date. I understand salesmanship.
What do you smoke? A pipe, cigarettes, cigars?
Cigarettes only.
Cigarettes, cigars. Cigarros y cigarrillos.
I would like to take your fingerprints.
Of course, of course. Anything to help.
Thank you. You travel frequently to and from the United States?
Yes, for the past 10 years or so.
Did you ever come across Monsieur Ratchet?
Never, but I know the type. Oh, yes. It is very respectable, very well dressed, but underneath it is all wrong. I should say he was a big crook. I give you my opinion for what it is worth.
Your opinion is quite right. Monsieur Ratchet was Cassetti, the kidnapper.
What did I tell you? I have learned to read the face. It is necessary. Only in America do they teach you the proper way to sell.
Please tell me your movements last night after dinner.
With pleasure. I stay here in the salon car for a while. It is more amusing. I play cards with the American gentleman who sells the typewriter ribbons. We talk shop. Afterwards, we retire to my compartment and play the cards some more. And talk more shop. That one, though, he is not the salesman Foscarelli is, I can tell you.
Do you remember the Armstrong case?
I do not quite remember, but yes. The name, it was a little girl, was it not? A baby, una bambina.
Yes.
Una bambina.
Ah, well, these things, they happen, even in a great country like America.
Have you ever come across any members of the Armstrong family?
It is difficult to say. I see so many people, you understand. I'll give you some figures. Last year alone, I sold...
Please, monsieur, confine yourself to the point.
With a great pleasure.
What time did you go to your compartment?
Oh, it was early. 8:30 or so.
What time did you stop playing cards in your room?
Not yet 10 o'clock. That stuffed shirt of a valet who shares the compartment with me came back from attending his master. A miserable people, the English. Not sympathetic. He sits in the corner, very stiff, reading a book. Mr. Hardman and I, we lose our taste for the cards, and Mr. Hardman, he goes off to his own room. The attendant makes up our beds.
What time did you go to bed?
I lay on my bunk for a while. The Englishman has, I think, the toothache. He gets out a little bottle of stuff that smells very strong. He moans and groans. I drop off around 10:30. Whenever I wake, I hear him groaning.
Sacó un líquido. Nos lo había dicho el ayuda de cámara, nos dijo que había sacado un líquido, ¿no? Dijo que ojalá yo hubiera tenido el líquido para dormir. A lo mejor el líquido es... Ah, clavo, es verdad. Aceite de clavo. El aceite de clavo está hecho para mitigar el dolor. Vale. Muy bien, estaba yo pensando en el somnífero. Entonces decimos, sí, salió...
Do you know if Monsieur Masterman left the room at all during the night?
I do not think so. If the door opened, the light from the corridor, one wakes up automatically thinking it is the customs examination at some frontier.
Did Monsieur Masterman ever speak of his master?
I tell you, he did not speak, even to introduce himself. He was not as sympathetic, a fish.
Good day, monsieur.
Un muervo. Eso está bien traducido, ¿eh? Un muervo.
See here, what do you think you're playing at?
I will take your fingerprints now.
Will you, by Jove? Well, get on with it then.
That will do for now, Colonel.
Vale, pues entonces ahora tenemos que recopilar los... A ver cómo está el tema, a ver si esto funciona... Recoger todos los pasaportes... Se ve que me falta pasaportes todavía. Mira, ¿ves cómo cambian las huellas? Está bien hecho eso. Klaus. Claro, entonces esto supongo que será que ponemos aquí unas. Estas son de las que vamos a ir encontrando y estas son las que tenemos aquí. Vale, muy bien, ahora lo entiendo. Lo que pasa es que a ver cómo sacamos las huellas dactilares que sacamos de los muebles. Vale, entonces instrucciones ya lo hemos visto. ¿Por qué? Pues que tiene más. Averiguar más datos acerca de la persona del kimono. Comprobar si las coartadas de los pasajeros resisten un examen. Recoger huellas dactilares de referencia de los sospechosos. Cuando cojamos todas las huellas dactilares puede ser que nos deje coger huellas dactilares del mobiliario. A ver, es que no me acuerdo qué va a hacer yo aquí. Historia, crímenes, sospechosos. Mira qué guapo. O sea que nos quedan un montón todavía. Fíjate. Fogonero, maquinista, Mateo. Quedan un montón. Princesa Dragomiros. Por cierto, ¿no está la nuestra? La nuestra no está. Mira, Pierre Michel. Pierre Michel, no sé quién es. Y Lucien el camarero. Bueno, habrá algún sitio donde no hemos entrado todavía.